Buffalo After Dark is proud to recommend I Barbecue for You. Pre-orders are suggested by calling 716-880-7667. I Barbecue for You, Buffalo's new barbecue destination.
Just move the Coyotes. Don't do another expansion team.
Right? It would never crossed my mind. So somebody called the house when I was out mowing the grass.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit, your face is like purple.
Are you still up? Now in our fifth season, it's Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is actually Thursday night, February 6th. And guess what? Hanson's in the middle of who knows where. So instead, we got good old Rob with us. It's been a while. How have you been?
Been great. It's great to be back, honestly.
Nice. Yeah, so it's been a while. I think the last time you were here was Battle of Vindaloo, where Bobby ended up literally like burning his insides out after losing that bet.
That was great.
It was.
That was an unforgettable moment.
Right, and then the second time it happened is like, oh crap, they screwed up his order and they gave him mild. So it just didn't work.
That sucked.
I
Sucked
know.
for us, good for him, but
I know, right? So, but yeah, hopefully his trip's going all right. I know he's supposed to be back, I think, next week, and then we might even have some interesting stuff this weekend coming up on the channel here. So, of course, keep it here. But in the meantime, if you want to join us, we are live on YouTube, and of course, if you want to check out old episodes, you can go to Spotify. But the biggest thing this week is, of course, the Super Bowl, and nobody gives a crap about Super Bowl 59 in a lot of ways. and one of the funniest things that came out this week is, of course, when they did the press conferences and they had the media day, and everybody, including Pat Mahomes, including Travis Kelce, and Roger Goodell, were all asked, who's your favorite referee? And they were asked about the whole referee scandal. And then, of course, Roger Goodell comes out and, being the moron he is, ends up saying, there's no such thing as a referee scandal. It's like a theory that's not even possible. I'm like, really? So if it's not possible, how is it that the NFL just fired a bunch of referees? How is it that even their former head of officiating said that 4th and 1 really was a first down? How is it your own line judge said it was a first down, and yet he was on top of the ball, and yet another referee is like, oh, I'm like 20 feet back. It's like, no, we'll just take your word for it. And then of course, the whole little thing with the Swifties, how apparently it contributes an extra $350 million to the Chiefs. So, of course, it's like NFL, Earth to NFL, you got influence here. You got something going on because your referees are screwing up.
and then Troy Aikman brought a good point about the sports betting and how that affects it.
Yeah, T.O. It came out this week.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was good.
How he ended up mentioning that, and he was throwing it at him. And then literally every single other person, and you go on any site and you're going to hear about the bad officiating. And it's gotten worse, especially now with NFL partnering with a lot of the sports books and everything else. And I mean, here's a perfect example. Remember in the NBA, and we'll actually cover a big trade later, but remember the NBA back in 2007, that ref Tim Donahue who ended up ejecting Tim Duncan just for laughing?
Yes.
And remember
that.
And he had to do 15 months in a federal clink for sports gambling?
Yeah.
And 3 years home confinement?
Good times.
Yeah. So it's like NFL. It's like you're saying there's no such thing as people being bought and paid for, yet there's people being bought and paid for.
In other leagues, mind you, too.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not just this. I mean, look at what happened back in baseball. Pete Rose is the biggest example of all time.
Literally.
And he's still not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Oh.
Man. So it's like one of those things. I mean, obviously, I don't believe anything that the refs are saying at this point. I mean, to miss that many calls.
No, nobody is.
Yeah. And they have the overtime rules changed like 2 years ago because of everything that happened with the Bills and the Chiefs. And now, guess what? You're looking at electronic measurement of first downs.
I mean, doesn't the UFL have that technology?
Something. And yet the NFL refuses to use it.
Even tennis has better technology for
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah, the baselines. Look at like the 3D,
Yeah.
like the 4D stuff they show. I mean, it's just hilarious. Like how every other sport except for the NFL can use technology. It's like, come on,
Right?
right?
What are we doing?
Yeah. So now it's like, oh, well, now we're gonna go ahead and review it, and it's like, all right. So how many people were bought and paid for in the league office in New York City when they supposedly reviewed it, and of course they didn't. And it's like, even then, it's like, why not bring out the chains and measure? Oh, wait, we can't do that. We have to give a bad spot twice in a row.
I'm sure it'll be okay. No one will
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah, really. And every single person is thinking it should have been the Bills and the Eagles. So it's, which I seriously hope the Eagles totally kick the living hell out of the Chiefs at this point, because it's like,
That's
that's a
how
lot.
Saquon goes off again.
Yeah, have him run for like 200 like he did in that one playoff game.
Yes.
That would be great.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, there we go. It's like, yeah, have him run and then have Jalen Hurts run in for another and just stack it up to the point where the Chiefs can't do anything.
Do what the Buccaneers did to them years ago.
Oh, that was great. That
was
great.
glorious.
Yes, it was. But even like looking back at some of the other things, I mean, even now, there's the Miami Heat, which they ended up doing a pretty big trade, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But guess what? Guard Terry Rozier is under investigation for federal sports betting.
Oh, joy.
So this is what happened. So he's under investigation with a sports betting scandal, and apparently this is after Jonte Porter, who used to be the Toronto Raptors center until he was banned for life for sports betting.
Betting.
Apparently, the whole thing now with Rozier is it's going back all the way to March 2023, and he was with the Charlotte Hornets at that time. Yeah, so NBC Sports is reporting that then a member of the Charlotte Hornets was playing the New Orleans Pelicans, and apparently the league did an investigation. They didn't say there was a violation of NBA rules, but now they're aware of an investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York saying that, guess what, there's a problem here. So it's just, and what happened is there was an insanely high number of wagers placed on Rozier to go under the statistical benchmarks. So basically, they wanted him to throw the game. And apparently, he makes over $100 million in his career. And he supposedly, the way that they got tipped off, he left after only scoring 5 points with a sore right foot. So he basically has a phantom injury. I mean,
Oh, man. It's crazy.
It is. It is. I mean, we really can't even make this stuff up. And then apparently, after that whole thing, I mean, Porter pleaded guilty last year to conspiracy to commit wire fraud for purposely leaving 2 games to help people win big money. So, and apparently he admitted in court that he agreed to the scheme to help settle his gambling debts.
Oh, jeez, that's even worse.
I know. So he's throwing away his money. Now, he's going to be getting at least 3 to 4 years in prison from what the article is saying. But he's also going to have fines. He's going to have hundreds of $1,000s in repayments he's going to have to do to everybody affected. But it's like one of those things. So the Supreme Court overturns a ban on sports betting in 2018. And now it's like, look at what sports betting's doing, NFL. It's corrupting your game.
Big time. And now more people are opening up to it.
Right.
And it's about time.
Yeah. Shit, I bet on games every now and then too, but it's like I'm not like colluding with anybody. It's like, hey, if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, good old FanDuel. I don't mind using that. Or DraftKings. I mean, those are the 2 I would usually use. But it's like one of those things. And of course, we are not going to tell you to gamble, or we're not going to tell you not to gamble. That's your own decision. Of course, gamble responsibly if you do.
My way gambling is sports is with the sports cards.
Yeah, exactly. And if anyone watching this show decides to gamble money and they lose it, well, hey, we can't hold you responsible because of the fact that we don't advocate for it, and we don't advocate against it. So
Just be responsible. That's all we ask.
yeah, yeah. And then our buddy Brad over in Kentucky, he says, "Hey, ticket prices are down 60 and 20% over last year." Is he talking? Is he talking about the NFL in general or sports in general? I'd be interested to find that out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So
I'm curious.
yeah. So yeah, he usually hangs out with us here on the show. So and he's like, "Oh, you're contributing to oh." So now he's telling me I'm contributing to the NFL ref scandal. It's like, no, I'm not telling refs how to go about it. It's like, hey, if I bet on the sports book, I'll like throw maybe like $20 in here or something, but I'm not like throwing games. So,
No, I just do fantasy football, but other
Yeah,
than
that
that,
too.
nothing.
yeah, that too. I mean, I have my money league for fantasy football, but no, he's talking about the Super Bowl. The tickets are down like between 16 and 20% this year. So
Oh yes, that I did hear.
yeah, so the NFL's losing money.
Good.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see what
Keep
the
it
actual it'd be interesting to see what the viewing is going to be too, like the actual like numbers. So but a lot of people don't want to watch it. Actually, one of the breweries around here is actually throwing a big party. It's like, well, we know you don't want to watch and we don't want to watch either, so they're doing like a huge thing for it.
Oh, that I would go to.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I actually might. So who knows? But at the same time, it's just one of those things. Gambling is becoming a big thing in sports, and it's not just the NBA. It's not baseball. Even hockey, to an extent, is getting into it because.
Yeah. I see so many more advertisements for it.
Yeah. Well, there was like, remember maybe, I want to say, and I don't know if you knew about it, but maybe like 10 years ago or something like that. Remember how Thomas Vanek was being looked at? The former Sabre who went to Montreal and he also played with the Islanders. Remember how he was being looked at for sports betting also?
Right.
And there were several other players at that time also, but it's in every single sport now. And the thing with Vanek at the time, and it's almost 11 years ago now, but he ended up betting over $1 million with the local ring, and apparently some of the ring claimed it was over 10 million in some cases, where he had 10 million in gambling debts, and apparently there was at least $230,000 directly extorted from Vanek.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
Then we had the Evander Kane thing, and then the
Oh,
other year we
yeah.
had Shane Pinto.
Yeah. Remember Kane with like the briefcase of like $1,000 bills
Yes.
in Vegas of all places? I'm like, dude, it's like we already know what you're doing.
And that is at the time crazy wife.
Yeah. Yeah, she's starting. I've been to Vegas a few times. Actually, I lived out there for 2 summers. So my
nice.
dad and stepmom used to live out that way. So until not that long ago, but I actually got to spend some time on the Vegas Strip, and yes, it is as crazy as everyone says it is.
I'd love to go there one year.
Yeah, well, you can definitely get a ton of alcohol with no problem out there, and you'll see a lot of prostitutes out there too, even though they're not supposed to be out there. But
Right, of course.
yeah, but you will definitely see them.
Probably go there when the Formula One Grand Prix happens too.
Yeah, that is true.
Just because I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, or watch when the Super Bowl comes out. That would be
Yeah.
interesting. Go into the black hole.
Oh man,
So,
that'd be quite the experience.
yeah. Actually, one of the things that was kind of funny we thought about, in a sense, is maybe for a Road to 32 at some point, maybe go see like Bills versus Raiders if it happens in sometime in this millennium, and maybe catch like a hockey game out there at the same time. But since
That'd be
they have
perfect.
both sports now, so it'd be interesting. But yeah, sports gambling is a big problem. It's getting to be a big problem. It's a huge industry. The NFL doesn't want to admit it, but yeah, their refs are throwing games, and they know they're throwing games. They're just trying to cover it up, and they're
Oh,
doing
for
a
sure.
half-ass job of it.
Like that BS statement they posted earlier in the week, I think it was.
Yeah. Well, it was. I know Travis Kelce had like an insane statement about it also. With the whole ref scandal, he's like, "There's no such thing."
Yeah, then you have Mahomes like, no, they don't favor us.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, And then his wife came out today and basically was remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, his wife comes out. It's like there's no such thing. It's like I'm gonna sue your ass for defamation. It's like for what?
What?
And then his dad came out and said something about it, and yet I was looking back. I'm like, oh my god, he actually played for the Pittsburgh Pirates
Yeah.
at one time, way back.
I mean, they were actually decent back then, unlike now, but that's a different story.
Right, it's just their ownership's so cheap that they don't want to do anything. Although I'm surprised they actually resigned McCutcheon for another year or so.
That they brought back Adam Frazier. They signed Tommy Pham this morning.
Yeah. And they still have Skeens on his rookie contract, which my bet, if I were to bet any money on it, he'd probably try to go somewhere else once his rookie deal's up.
The joke is he'll be traded to the Yankees for nothing, and that's probably
Probably true, right? Or you never know. I mean, he could always go to the Mets even now that that they're paying a ton of money and they don't care about
that's
the
right.
luxury tax anymore. So it's just crazy, but yeah, I would say I'd almost go down to Pittsburgh just to watch a game with Skeens before whatever happens.
That's what I'm doing this season. Their first home series is against the Yankees, so my friend Kevin and I are gonna
Nice.
take a train ride and watch
Very cool.
all 3 games.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get down there at some point this season. I definitely want to because I mean it's only about a 4-hour drive from where I'm at, so I mean that is definitely easy to get to, and I was
Yeah, not
thinking
the worst
about it.
drive.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. And then I was thinking of going for the Subway Series around the first week of July, so I was thinking about that because they're actually playing
Those-
at Citi Field.
Those are always good games to go to too.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured, hey, go to New York City. It's my birthday weekend, so I might as well treat myself to
Yeah,
something.
enjoy it. Yeah, why not?
So it's good stuff. But that being said, the Super Bowl, I don't give a crap what happens in it, honestly, this time around. It is what it is. Do I want the Eagles to win? Yes.
Of course.
Do I think it'll happen? I am praying to whatever I believe in that it does happen because all I know is it's going to have to be like the 19 millionth power to overcome the refs.
For real?
Yeah. And
I'd rather just play video games with friends instead of watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm even thinking of throwing on the Sopranos DVD sets. I mean, I have the 6 seasons. I mean, I might just binge watch some of it.
Yeah, why not?
It's a good show. I mean, that and I have all the seasons of Oz, the prison show that was on
Nice.
HBO. You want to see some real like crazy stuff on there? That's the show to watch. Well, that and there's The Wire.
Oh yeah, The Wire.
That was some good stuff back in the day too.
Forgot about The Wire.
Oh God, HBO. Why did you get rid of good TV shows?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was some good stuff back then.
Oh, times changed for the worst.
Yeah, and I think that The Sopranos premiered in 1999.
I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, I was
5. Yeah, it was 5. Okay.
Let's see, 1999. I was maybe just turned 15 at the time, or something like that. Because I graduated in 01, and that was right before I turned 18. So yeah, that was like, or maybe 16 or something at the time. I don't know. It's like thinking back, I'm like, geez, it's already been over 25 years since that show debuted.
Amazing.
Yeah, and Oz was before that, so
Oh wow, that I didn't know.
yeah, Oz ended up debuting, I want to say in like 95 or 96. So
I was like a year or 2 old.
yeah, it was crazy like back then, but I mean, there was some great stuff on HBO back in the day watching that. And then, of course, we all have to remember when we were all young and good old Taxi Cab Confessions on late night TV.
Yes.
That was some crazy stuff. But, anyways, I was going to say, predictions on the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously, they both have good offensive lines. I think the Eagles have a better D-line. Definitely the running game goes to the Eagles. I really hope Barkley pops off for over 100 easily. I hope
Yes,
that happens.
please.
Please, for the love of God, let that happen. I'm thinking it ultimately, though, instead of the Eagles probably running it up, it's probably going to be a close game because of the refs. And yes, NFL, you can't find me because guess what? You don't pay us. So we can say whatever we want. We are self-funded here. So
Freedom.
yes. And for anyone who watches the show, that's why you see that disclaimer in the intro that says we are not responsible for anything we say. So I would say overall, probably going to be, I'm guessing 31-28 for the Eagles.
I was actually gonna go 34-28 Eagles.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we'll have to see what happens with it. Hopefully, those predictions will hold up to a point. So that would be fun if it does. But yes, please do not let that three-peat happen because otherwise we're going to hear about it for the next 300-something years.
Until we die.
Yeah, and probably after that.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe in our afterlife too. That they won't stop bringing it up.
Yeah, probably like the next 5 afterlives or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but it's just gonna be absolutely insane, like how that would all go. So that being said, I think that's pretty much our good old football talk for now. And then really we'll jump into some other stuff. I mean, there's not a whole ton in hockey happening because I mean the whole Nations tournament's coming up. So I mean we're gonna have a little bit of a break there, but I will say, it is nice to see the Sabres actually win 4 in a row. And they ended up doing that against, of course, there was Nashville, Columbus was one. I'm actually surprised in that Columbus game that the first thing that happened on the opening faceoff, drop the gloves. So, it was interesting to see. Yeah, interesting to see.
They needed to.
Well, yeah, but the thing I don't like, and actually Matt Barnaby called him out, the hit on Tage Thompson that knocked him out for a couple games. The headshot. Yeah, the headshot. And what happens? No one goes to defend him. It's like, why?
I was even shocked.
Yeah.
And then I thought Nason was going to be suspended 2-3 games, but no, nothing.
Yeah, it didn't happen, of course. But it's like, if someone takes a headshot to your team, it reminds me of what happened with the whole Ryan Miller thing, and no one came to defend him back when Milan Lucic ended up taking him out and gave him that nasty concussion for a while.
And even Nason was like, wait, no one's going after me right now?
Yeah, it's like
even the Devils were shocked.
Right. I was going to say, it's like, hello, you get a headshot, it's like, drop the gloves and throw some fists. That's like what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it didn't. Now, if it was something else, let's say if it was the Devils and the Capitals and that happened, you know what's going to happen. Tom Wilson would be right out there and he'd be throwing some fists like in like T-minus 2 seconds. So, or back in the day when Derek Bugard was still around, he'd like freaking level somebody.
Oh yeah, he was.
Then he'd fight, and then he'd like level you again. So,
he didn't care.
Yo, he didn't. It's like I remember the one time he knocked out, or it actually kind of reminds me that one time Jesse Boulris versus Aaron Downey, and it was the 1-punch knockout in Dallas.
Oh, nice.
And like literally, what happened is it was like a left hook to the head, ends up ducking, and then like cracks him right in the jaw, and that was it. He was done. So
yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. I mean, well, then of course, good old George Laraque. I remember him back in the day when he was fighting and everything, and same thing. He'd go after him. Raiders Ivanons, he would go after him. In fact, you might have seen the clip at one point, but remember when Ivanons and Laraque ended up squaring up and they had him mic'd? And basically, Laraque is like, want to? And then Ivanons is like, okay. And then Laraque's like, square up? And then of course, Ivanons agreed. And then Laraque's like, okay, good luck, man. And then they just drop the gloves at St. Roy's and they start fighting for a while. Good heavyweight fight.
Gotta love it.
And thank God Bettman's retiring because at least maybe we have a snowball's chance in hell of having fighting come back.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Although I think some of the Utah Hockey Club fans don't understand what the purpose of fighting is because apparently one of the funny things I saw on one of their pages is this one fan was saying, well, hockey's supposed to be a gentlemanly sport. It's like, you're not supposed to be fighting. It's like, I take my kids and we didn't expect to see violence. And I'm like, hello, it's hockey. Fighting is a part of the game.
That's what we love to see.
Right. You're going to see blood on the ice from time to time. I mean, whether it's someone getting their face crushed in by a fist, or someone taking a puck to the face, or God forbid, like what happened was Zednik, how he ended up taking the skate and ended up having to go off real quick, and we've seen some wicked injuries like that, which at least Zednik was all right after that. But it's like one of those things. Hockey is a blood sport to an extent.
It's a very physical sport.
Yeah. And it's not, and yeah, you'll see people take a 80+ mile an hour puck to the whatever part of the body. It happens.
Or Marchenko took one to the jaw. Now he's out for a month.
Yeah, yeah. Or there was one like not that long ago where one of the, I want to say a ref or a linesman ended up taking a puck to the face and just like, oh yeah, I'm staying out here. I'm just gonna get stitched up and come right back out. So
it's just a scratch. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it happens. It's like you're going to get hurt in hockey. It happens at one point or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hell, I didn't even think about it. I could have had my dad on here. He could have told some old hockey stories because he actually played for the Junior Sabres back in the day when the team was founded. And he actually could have gone to Rochester. He decided to go and work in construction and electrical and all that. But I remember some of the stories he told me where he would actually, he ended up putting, like, he was the one that loved to drop the gloves and he loved to fight people. and it was one of those where he didn't care how hurt he got, he just loved to fight. So he told me about a story one time where he ended up having like a broken hand and he's like, yeah, I'm still playing, and he had the cast on there but I had to try to keep the glove on so this way he wouldn't get thrown out. So
more power to him.
Yeah, but now he says, like, now all these years later is like, yeah, I'm like messed up. So he just tells about the whole stuff, and then actually my left knee is all screwed up from when I used to do this stuff like that too. So it's like one of those, it's like bone on bone in some cases. So it is what it is. But
yeah,
it's not too bad. I mean, I can pop it pretty good, but it's like one of those. But I do remember the one time I knocked someone out real good, and it was basically one of those things. Throw the first punch, missed, and then basically cracked him right in the jaw, and that was it. And the eyes were like what they said on they said like on OLN when oh god, what was that hit on Jesus, and it is bad because this was that Sabres series. Where RJ Umberger got destroyed by Brian Campbell. He's like, this is the look of someone who is not with us.
Oh, gee. Oh, no.
That was the great. If anyone ever sees that, you can find that easily on YouTube. But that being said, I mean, they're going to go into the break for the Nations tournament, so of course that'll be fun to see. And then besides that, I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's been fairly quiet in sports, but one of the fun things, we kind of talked a little bit about it in the whole gambling spot that we talked about, but there was a 4-team trade in the NBA, and of course Jimmy Butler decides to outstay his welcome again, like he does with every other team. Mm-hmm. So it's a 4-team, 7-player deal. So Jimmy Butler is getting traded from Miami. He goes to the Warriors, so that'll help him in terms of possibly getting a ring. Then the Miami Heat get a protected first-round pick, PJ Tucker, Kyle Anderson, and Andrew Wiggins. The Utah Jazz, which I don't know how they got involved, but they end up getting Dennis Schroeder. And then the Pistons, somehow, they get Josh Richardson and Lindy Waters III. So I'm like, trying to figure it out, but apparently the other thing is Butler declined his 25-26 player option in order to sign a 2-year, $121 million extension. So he's going to stay with the Warriors through the 26-27 season.
Of course, trying to chase that ring.
Yeah. But Jesus.
And I think Schroeder is now with I think he's now with Detroit.
Yeah.
He got moved around like four times within the past 24 hours.
Yeah, seriously. It's like he ended up moving around all over the place. So it's just crazy. Like, that was one of the really big deals that ended up coming out. But then the Bucks ended up getting worse because they decided to trade for Kyle Kuzma, and they ended up getting him, Patrick Baldwin Jr., Jericho Sims, and a 2025 second-round pick. The Wizards get Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, and a 2028 first-round pick swap, and then the Knicks somehow get Delon Wright and cash. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Everyone's just trying to beat the Celtics.
Yeah, and I mean the Cavs got a lot better today too. So I mean they ended up getting DeAndre Hunter, big upgrade for them, and then the Hawks get Karis LeVert, George Niang, 3 second-round picks and 2 pick swaps. So I mean they definitely, Cleveland's not afraid to play with money now. So
Nope, not at all.
yeah, but then thinking about like what ended up happening earlier in the week. The LA Lakers totally fucked the Mavericks over.
I didn't think that was an actual trade when I first heard about that.
Right. And here was the thing. I'm like thinking about it and I'm like, is this actually like real or is this like NBA 2K something in terms of like trades?
That was exactly my thoughts as well.
Right. And it's like with the whole deal that happened, I'm like thinking about it now, he's actually going to debut. Supposedly, he's going to debut Monday night against the Jazz. But I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, is this like actual reality where the Mavs get nothing, and yet Luka Doncic ended up taking them to the finals last year? It's like what? It's like what the hell happened? And it was probably one of the craziest trades I could ever think of. And the Mavs end up getting Anthony Davis, who won with the Lakers in 2020, Max Christie, and a first-round pick. And basically what happened is, I mean, the Mavs got instantly worse. In fact, actually, earlier today, some fans had a casket outside the American Airlines Center mourning the loss of Luka Doncic.
That was sad. That was really sad.
I know. It's just absolutely nuts, like some of the things that happened, and then thinking about it, like even some of the other trades that ended up taking place, I forget one that happened, but I want to say, oh yeah, here's the one. So the Lakers then ended up getting, they ended up trading Dalton Knacht, Cam Reddish, and a 2031 unprotected first round pick and a 2030 pick swap to Charlotte for center Mark Williams. And I'm like, we know how far out that is?
Yeah, 5-6 years?
6 years out? I'm like, it's like, usually it's like 1 or 2 seasons like we hear in every other sport. But 2031?
Can you imagine that in other sports?
Yeah, it'd be like, okay, I'm going to sign Pete Alonso for 2 seasons, and then we'll do a 2087 draft pick or something crazy. It's like, what the hell? And even the Pelicans and the Thunder end up doing a 2031 second round pick in cash for to get Daniel. Daniel Theis goes to Thunder, and they Oklahoma City also gets a 2031 second round pick. I'm like, the NBA is like comical at this point with some of those like draft picks.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah. Even the Celtics, they ended up getting rid of Jaden Springer to the Houston Rockets, and basically Springer a 2027 second round pick and a 2030 second round pick to the Rockets. And you know what the Celtics got back in return? This is funny.
Yeah.
A 2031 second round pick. It's like, we can't make any of this stuff up.
And then the Celtics also signed Torrey Craig.
Yeah.
He's a free agent forward.
Right. Yeah. And then Brad jumps back in the chat here on YouTube and he said, Clint Malarchuk's statement on the way to the hospital was epic old school hockey. Oh, yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like that whole thing, well, number one, he wanted to be back out there. And number two, he's like, did we actually win? So he wanted to be back out on the ice, and it's just he's lucky he actually survived that whole incident because he was on the right side of the ice at the time. Yeah, the old odd, it's not like where you have the entrances like at the benches like we do now. The entrance, it was like a single tunnel, and it was behind the home goal. It's like behind the end where the home team shoots twice. That's where the players would come out. So, like, literally, he was on the right side at the right time because they were able just to take him right out and get him taken care of. So, I mean, that's how it happened. But now it's like, at least with the bench, you have it right behind you. So it's a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it was just absolutely crazy, like, how everything ended up going at the time. So, But yeah, the actual NBA, they're very comical in terms of what they're doing right now with the picks. But I was gonna say, baseball, not a whole lot happening. I mean, obviously, we know it'll be interesting to see what the Pirates actually do this coming season. But one of the big things that I know Hanson will be happy about is Alonso ended up signing for 2 years with the Mets. So now you have him, you have Juan Soto. You also ended up boosting your bullpen rotation, and on top of that, you still have money to work with. So it's nice to see that they're actually putting up a fight against the Yankees.
Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good on paper.
It is. I mean, they've got a good thing going. So good to see that happen at least. And then, of course, it'll be interesting whatever happens of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But I mean, there's a lot of changes happening. I know the Blue Jays made some moves. Obviously, you mentioned Tommy Pham ended up going to the Pirates. So that helps with their rotation. And then Skeens should be good. I was going to ask you, did Aroldis Chapman decide to come back to the Pirates, or did he decide to test the market?
Oh no, he's not. No, he's not coming back.
All right.
I don't even know if he signed anywhere yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about him.
I forgot.
Yeah. No, it's. I want to. Yeah.
Oh, he's at the Red Sox.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he's still got a good arm on him, so. I mean, that'll help him, except the Red Sox are in absolute, like, misery right now. with them.
They're interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fact he can still throw a 105-mile-an-hour fastball is absolutely insane.
They gave him $10.75 million for a year.
Wow.
Jeez.
Damn.
That's kind of much.
Yeah. For, let's see, a 36-year-old pitcher. But
Yeah, good luck with that.
yeah, but at the same time, I mean, if
He's
he can,
inconsistent, I'll tell you that.
right. Although he can still throw 100 and he threw 104.7 last year, and he threw like 105 last year. So at one
Yeah, it was
point,
insane.
yeah, it's like, what do you do? Have like Tommy John surgery, and his arm ended up like that baseball movie, like The Kid or whatever, where
Yes.
yeah, Major League, where it's like, oh yeah, the 14-year-old that can throw like 100 plus miles an hour until he ended up getting hit wrong, and then it's like, oh, he can't throw anything again. So yeah, but no, it'd be interesting. It's like, honestly, I would love to go see the Pirates play at PNC Park. I mean, it's that stadium is one of the ones on my short list that I want to visit.
Yeah, that was always on the top of my bucket list. I'm glad I finally get to cross that off this year.
Nice. Well, I mean, if all goes well, man, if I was thinking at some point too, depending on anything, if you may want to do a baseball game down there at some point, just let me know and I'll make the drive down. So
Yeah, we'll do.
so it's all good. Yeah, I'll just overnight down there or something, just get like a B&B or something. But yeah, it'll be a fun place. And yes, I do know Pittsburgh pretty well, so I will just tell you, typically do not go into Wilkinsburg because that is a shitty suburb over there. I will tell you, parts of the north side are not that great, but it's not as bad as what it used to be. The south side got a lot worse compared to what it was, but that Hill District isn't great, but I mean, it's not absolutely horrible. But I will tell you, there's a lot of fun parts in the city down there. So lots of good stuff to see. Station Square has a lot of stuff right on the water, so that part's pretty cool. Where PNC Park is, I mean, it's really a nice spot in downtown, right by a lot of the museums and different things. So it's a good spot.
I think the last time I went to Pittsburgh was like, what, 8-9 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah, it's been about it's been a little over a year since I've been down there. I ended up going down there, I want to say almost around this time last year, and I stayed actually outside of Pittsburgh. I stayed in Monroeville. Or actually, no, I stayed closer to Murraysville, so that's even past Monroeville going up. But no, it's a fun city. I love it. And Squirrel Hill is a fun neighborhood to walk through, I will tell you that.
Good to know.
Yeah. Now, where the waterfront is, like Homestead, not so much. So I will tell you that. They have a lot of stuff down there, just not a good neighborhood.
Oh, of course.
In a lot of cases.
Every city has those for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like literally, even where I live, go maybe about 2 miles down the road, and you're in no man's land in some places. So not good when you have video cameras all up on street corners and stuff watching everything.
Yeah, that's when you know it's bad.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the fun thing. I avoided being on the city line just by being on the one side of the highway. So it all worked out. Yeah. So it's fun, but altogether, I mean, with the Mets, bulking up with spending what they are, and then of course Bobby was having the conniption fit about the Dodgers spending way over for the luxury tax.
Luxury tax.
Oh, they're making a deep run this year again.
Unfortunately,
They are seriously making a deep run.
it's gonna be like that way for a while too.
Yeah. But now it's interesting because with Alonso making that deal, really the big thing, or the big guy that's up for free up in the market is actually going to be Alex Bregman. So, and that's something actually. If Trevor was around, I would have loved to have him on tonight. And he actually does some work with the Buffalo Bandits now, so that's actually pretty sweet. Where he gets to do some media stuff through one of the radio stations here.
They've been on a tear this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, Alex Bregman is now basically the only top 25 free agent left in the market that has not signed an extension anywhere, or not signed a new deal.
I don't know if he's gonna go to the Cubs or not.
Yeah, some were thinking maybe the Tigers, which I mean that boosts them even further after the great season they had. The Boston Red Sox surprisingly are linked to him. And then, of course, coming back to the Astros. So, but the thing is Bregman doesn't want a short-term deal, and he wants 6 or 7 years. So then, what had happened is Houston offered him $156 million over 6 years, but right now Bregman has not made any decision whatsoever.
Yeah, he seeks a 6 or 7. Probably wants 200 million or more.
Probably. I mean, and then even part of it, with the way it's working out with Alonso is that the Mets are guaranteeing him $30 million in 2025, which gave him a $10 million signing bonus and a $20 million base salary, and he's got an opt-out clause after the season. But also it was interesting because he had rejected a 3-year $71 million offer from the Mets, which had a lower 2025 value. So it's like, all right, so you get the signing bonus to get what you want, but then you can opt out after the season.
Yeah.
So, and his agent's not exactly a genius either, but that's another story.
That could be like a quarter of an episode itself right there.
Yeah, really. Yeah, Scott Boras. Jesus.
You just have a whole episode dedicated to Scott Boras.
We really
could.
We really could, like how he screws up stuff for his clients big time.
Oh yeah.
And it's only opinion, it's not a fact. So Boris, you can't sue us because we're just saying an opinion. We're not saying it's actual fact that you're doing that. We're not saying that it hasn't happened. So again, it's opinion. And there is a thing called fair use doctrine, so
yeah.
So that's that. But anyways, apparently on top of that, so with Alonso coming back, I mean, that's a nice move. Then, of course, you have, and they actually have a good starting infield because you have Alonso, you have McNeil, Lindor, you got Vientos locked in, and then, of course, the fact they end up bringing on Juan Soto, I mean, you're stacked.
Yeah, it was a huge reel. Yeah,
for sure. So... And Alonso had a good season, and he actually played better in the preseason, quite honestly. So it's a nice addition, and hopefully they can do a long-term deal and make it work for him. I mean, that's really going to be the big thing. But one of the things with Bregman possibly going to Detroit, one of the things that was thought of is with the fact that Detroit actually agreed to 2 years for starting pitcher Jack Flaherty. So I mean, he's getting $35 million from the Tigers, and apparently that's the most expensive contract they've done this offseason. When they've only done $15 million deals otherwise.
Right.
Like, what are they thinking? Is this like the NHL or something where you have like low ball deals?
For real.
Yeah, I mean,
And then you have the Pirates and the Rays and
yeah.
the other bottom feeders.
Right. Yeah, and the Rays don't even have their own stadium this season after their roof got torn off. They're having to play at George Steinbrenner Field.
They'll probably have more fans now, though, so I guess that's a plus.
Probably. Yeah, they'll actually fill the stadium. It only seats, 20,000 maybe? If that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, although they'll all roast in the sun because there's no roof.
Yes. Yep.
But apparently now the other thing is that the Cubs are actually trying to go after Padres right-hander Dylan Cease. So,
Oh boy, that's interesting.
yeah. So, and even the Mets tried to go after him originally as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, but then it's one of those things. He wasn't exactly great because not this past season, but the year before, he only had a 4.58 ERA over 33 starts, which is absolutely horrific.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
No, definitely not good. So that being said, I mean, it is interesting seeing some of the different deals that are coming through in baseball so far, and but still, the craziest thing was the NBA. Just seeing some of those weird picks and the swaps that they're doing is just. I've never heard of someone doing a deal 6 years out. It's come on, it's crazy. So, that being said, but no, it'll be interesting altogether. And then I know, of course. One of the things with you going to Pittsburgh, what are some of the things you're looking for when you visit that stadium for the first time?
Yeah, I'm just gonna soak it all in. I would like to just tour the whole. I would like to get a tour, honestly, but
yeah, hey, if they offer it, man, go for it.
Definitely gonna check out the team store.
Yeah, it's a good spot, and I've never been in that stadium either. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I will tell you, if you go to Permane Brothers, the only one to really go to is the original one in the Strip. So I will tell you that's the good one. The other ones are knockoffs, but
that's what everyone says too.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, if you like French fries on a sandwich, then yeah, go there. So that's what
go
they
right
do.
ahead.
Yeah. I will tell you, some of the places that I like down there, when I've gone down there, I mean, obviously Permane Brothers, you got to try that at least once. There is that.
Of course.
I would tell you if you're into like Asian food, Sesame Inn is definitely a good place. When I was in Pittsburgh, actually, the one in Mount Lebanon, which is on the opposite side of the river, if you're heading towards the airport, that one definitely have a lot of favorites there, and I've been there a few times. And then even besides that, one of the places that was featured on Food Network, there's a place called Emporio, which you say is a meatball joint, but they have different things there. So I mean, that place isn't bad. I mean, I went to the one in Pine Township, so there's that, and there's a bunch of other places, but I would say Squirrel Hill has some good stuff. They have some good delis up there. They're one place I used to love, right near University of Pittsburgh, was called Fuel and Fuddle. They just shut down not too long ago, but that was one of those dive places when you're a college student. You'll just absolutely love it because they're open super late.
Oh, yeah,
you
I
could
love
get anything there.
Yeah, I love those type of places.
Yeah, you could get small pizzas. You could get wraps. You could get plenty of alcohol there. A bunch of other stuff. Lots of good stuff. But yeah, that place I miss. That was one of the very first places I ever went to when I was down there. So it's kind of got that little sentimental feel because it's in that place is you didn't care what it was or what time it was. You just knew it's hey, if you're halfway drunk, it's all good anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
but the food was good. So, I mean, I can't say it wasn't.
Yeah, that's a plus.
So, yeah, but there's definitely a lot of fun places down there. So, I would tell you if you're ever looking for anything, I mean, definitely let me know. But yeah, definitely try the original Permane Brothers at least once. I would tell you that. And then
yeah, I can't remember if we went there the last time I was in Pittsburgh. I don't even remember if we went there or not.
Yeah. And actually, one place I could tell you about is Stunt Pig in Squirrel Hill. Also, that place is pretty good, and that's one of the places a lot of people like. So there's that. I mean, there's plenty of places, and even one of the things I was thinking of that I would totally go back to again is in a place called Regent Square. There's a place called Square Cafe, and that's good for breakfast. So yeah, just a few things I can throw out there for you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Which kind of reminds me of Saturday. I have to go to I'm actually doing early morning breakfast in the city because one of my longtime favorites, Nick's Place, which is on the west side of Buffalo, it's right by Buff State. They are closing after over 30 years, and that was one of those places that were only open till 3 p.m. The owner's going to retire. They're going to keep their other location on the Elmwood Strip open, but man,
that's good.
yeah. But I will tell you, you want like 3-plate breakfast there, that is worth it. And it's like when we went to Cincinnati, how you had the 3-plate breakfast came out with like the waffles and everything. Remember that?
Yeah, we had the Waffle House like right across.
Yeah.
The street.
Oh, I loved that. That morning,
That was
like
perfect.
yeah, it's like coffee, and I'm like, shit, this is like good breakfast and everything. It was cheap. It was even better.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. It was cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap. It was good. The coffee was good. I mean, everything was good. But no, Nick's Place has been one of those places I've really liked for a long time, and it's Greek owners, so of course Greek breakfasts are great. But I mean, they didn't own the place. It was just a matter of the rent ended up going up too much, and they decided we're gonna call it a career in that location. But the other thing I love too, the homemade hot sauce.
Ooh.
You can never go wrong with homemade hot sauce.
I'm sure Bobby would love that.
Yeah, it would probably burn a hole in his ass again.
Yes.
Yeah, you wonder why he brings dude wipes everywhere he goes. My sensitive ass needs to be cleared and not smeared. Actually, and that's funny. It reminds me on the PBA stuff. On the sweep it says clears, not smears.
Yes. They mentioned dude wipes so much during the U.S. Open.
They actually sponsor it now. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's like, and sorry, Bobby, I know you're gonna hate me for saying that, but yeah, we know your sensitive ass loves dude wipes. So, but shit. But yeah, it's good stuff. Hopefully he's having a good time on his trip. So I mean,
yeah,
definitely deserved. And I know he's going. He's actually going to be going through Seattle in about another month or two. So he's actually making a return trip out there. He's going on an Alaskan cruise, so it actually departs out of Seattle.
Nice.
So yeah, he's double dipping. He's making the return trip. so it's good stuff. But I was gonna say we actually. Yeah, we've gone about an hour. So I was going to say, were there any other things you wanted to throw in or any other things you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, I think we pretty much nailed everything.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't much in sports this week, so...
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, we'll cover a little bit. But no, last thing I'll just throw in there, Buffalo Bandits, they're still undefeated, so great to see them having a good season again. And I actually had a chance to go a couple weeks ago. I went to one of their games where my niece actually got to perform, so she was with the Junior Bandettes, so it was fun to see. And we ended up beating the Philadelphia Wings, so always love seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
So... And I saw someone almost have road rage in the parking lot leaving the arena.
Oh, jeez.
Well, what happened is this one person was getting into their car and they had their door open. And this one idiot who was drunk actually almost sideswiped the person with the door. So then the person got really pissed off, actually ran after that car, actually kicked the door and started like getting pictures of the plate. And I'm like, oh crap, we're going to see a fight here in the parking lot. So,
grab the popcorn.
Right. We didn't have a fight during the game, but we almost had a fight in the actual parking lot. And then the car starts following the car that almost hit them. And they're almost like doing road rage out of there. I'm like, hey, this is great. So one of the things, that's why if you decide to drink a lot of liquor or a lot of beer at a game, make sure you have an Uber ride or someone to take you home so you don't have to run into that. Because it's a lot better than throwing fisticuffs or possibly ending up in jail and paying over 10 grand in fines, whatever you want to say. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a little bit later in the wallet. You don't want that. So,
I think Philly's actually now the closest lacrosse team to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, after the New York team ended up, what they do, fold, or they end up relocating somewhere?
Yeah, they relocated to Ottawa. Now they're the Black Bears.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I keep forgetting we have the Rochester Nighthawks also, like an hour down the road. And Pagula owns both them and the Bandits. I want
perfect.
National Lacrosse League. How do you let the owner run 2 teams?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Kroenke tried that in the NHL and that didn't work. So,
Oh.
so anyways, but yeah, just crazy. So I mean, with that, it just one last thing we wanted to throw in there, but no, it's good stuff. So a lot of fun. And actually, Rob, I'm going to send you the Discover the Berg, so that way you can look at some of the good places to eat when you're down there.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, but if you're up this way, let me know. Maybe I'll take a ride down or something for the night or something like that. So we'll do that. But other than that, I think we're going to wrap up. So we didn't have a lot of sports to talk about, but we were able to catch up quite a bit, so it's all good. Of course, Rob will be back periodically too, so good to see you back. And of course, everybody else, as usual, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you the next time.
Bye.